Season 2, Episode 3 of Pachinko is really, really emotional. Much more so emotional than Episode 2 and how that left off, where I think it's one of the most emotional of the series. Now, at the end of Episode 2, we see that Sunja and her family are dragged away from the burning coffin of her husband because the city must be evacuated immediately. Now, if you don't remember, this is during World War II, so a lot of anxiety and chaos is happening in this season, and it's already only Episode 3. Now, in Episode 3, Sunja worries that she'll get split up from her kids, but they manage to stick together until Kohansu finds her and tells her that he's going to take her to a safe house in order from everything that's happening. And while this is in the countryside, now Sunja is okay with this, but she has her faults about it because she knows the man, even though he messed up with her trust already. Kyung-hee, a married woman in a way, whose husband is away, is very skeptical at first because he's bringing in a woman and what is going on, what is happening, and they want her and the two strange men but Sunja tells her that he's a family friend. Now, additionally, Hansu tells them that if they stay in the camps in Tokyo, they'll be dead in no time because we know what happened to the Japanese or the Koreans in World War II when they did stay at these camps. Now, the place is nothing like the home that they wanted, but we know she comes from a rich background. And another time, she's probably been living the way Hansu lives because you know how he has been living. So it's June of 1945 with the family is living normal lives and the countryside and working in the rice fields while Hansu is off to work all day long. In a way, you see Sunja and Kyung-hee in a way work for keeping commenting about themselves because they keep looking at each other in a way about them when they work under a Korean man. Now, Hansu is also getting closer to the kids, and Mozazu is especially fond of the man who brings him fancy gifts and toys and sets him up to live a comfortable life in a way. And Noah doesn't feel the same way. So as I said, Mozazu and Noah are really a contrast between the two in this because one brother does one thing, the other does another, and it's like, okay, which is really, really well done because that's how siblings are. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different, but with this, it really shows the dynamic of how these two are so much different apart that it really, really makes sense. Now, Noah is grateful for what is going on and the situation, and he's also not happy about it either, and you can tell that with certain mannerisms and certain looks he gives. Even the two boys, there's a different perspective of how everything's going on because it's very different, and it certainly respects how Hansu learns different things from another man because, of course, his father wasn't around, and we know that. And in later on, we see that Sunja is also certain that Hansu can't do anything to raise alarms about it. And it's been 14 years since he's been absent from their lives, so in a way, he can't, change things all of a sudden again. Now we go to the 80s, and all of a sudden Solomon shows up again, and this man I really, really think has some kind of anxiety going on. What is going on? What is happening? Solomon goes back to the firm to speak to Tom, and he brings up an idea or old story of Tom's. And at first, it almost seems like he's blackmailing him in a way. And you really get that from the conversation they're having. But then you realize he's trying to have a heart-to-heart conversation with him, which is really, really interesting. You start off and you think, oh, he's going to blackmail him. But then all of a sudden, boom, it's a whole different emotional aspect of the conversation that he's having with him because he wants to join forces with him. Solomon gets Tom on board so he can sell to Abe the deal that they want and that it can be done for a certain price. Now, all the while this is happening, Tom takes the idea and runs with it, and Solomon is one step closer to messing everything up for Abe and Shifley because of what happened to Solomon or himself. Now, on the other hand, his love life is really, really shown in this episode where it takes a surprising turn as well because he has a word with Naomi, who, after seeing Tom, somehow reaches in her in a way where it's like, okay, I have to make a choice of what's going on. But then Naomi asks Solomon out. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. What's going to happen now? But he takes her to a roadside area attraction who makes great food and is affordable in his present situation because, of course, he doesn't have any money and he wants money. He just wants to be honest with her. And from the start, though, he has impressed her by flattering her about her work. Either way, it looks like things are going to turn out nicely, but she is still works at the bank and needs and deserves and wants a promotion because that's what she wants. In a way, in the meantime, you see Sunja, who visits the grocery store again, an older Sunja, and meets an old man who was present when Solomon yelled at the racist Japanese shopkeeper, which, if you remember that episode and remember that scene, it was really, really powerful. He tells Sunya that Solomon had done the right thing in a way, but it wasn't the right thing, and asks her to meet her outside the store. Sunya agrees to meet him and joins while he's feeding birds in the park. They have a nice conversation back to back, and Sunya muses about how Solomon should be living a comfortable life because she stood in line for so much back in the day, and that what she did back in the day should have an impact today on her life, but it's vice versa, and that Solomon should face his own challenges. But after the realization of what he said to her in episode 2, Sunja realizes that it's hard work that matters and pays off for a family that can live in actual peace. This is a great, great episode. More things do happen, but I won't get into the gist of it because I don't want to spoil too much about it. You just have to check it out. The writing in this show is immaculate, so well done. And this episode was really, really good. I do like the contrast of going back and forth between the 1940s and World War II in Japan to the 1980s. There is a mix of Japanese and Korean. I love hearing the languages. Then you see the subtitles come up, and then you hear the English mixed in with there. It's just so well done. I mean, the emotional aspect is good. It's a great, great show. I mean, it's a show that should have gotten and talked about during award season, but didn't. Hopefully maybe season 2 does that, and I'm curious to see if this does well, if we'll get a third season, because I mean, how much more story can you tell, and the aspirations of these, the characters, and even Mozazu and Noah, like what can happen with them and how far will their lives go if we see things happening. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about season 2 episode 3 of Pachinko. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the story, about how Sunya, how she acted during the 1940s up until now? Do you think she's living a comfortable life now, or do you think she still has regrets from what happened to her in the past? And how do you think all this is going to happen with Solomon? And do you think Solomon is doing the right thing and how he baited someone, or do you think it's going to backfire on him like it always does? Let me know in the comment section below. But all the questions I just asked. I'm Mr. Filmstock. Thanks so much for tuning into my review. I'll see you all in the next review video. And be sure you tune in next week for my Season 2 Episode 4 review of Pachinko.